Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the FARCA Racing Series. We're back for round 3 and part 2 of our Talladega doubleheader. Last week we saw a little bit of a hectic race that ended in a bit of a controversy with Thor Gunderson of Douglas Autosport winning the race. And in the fallout, we had a little bit of a clash between manufacturers Toyota and Chevy that led to the winning team being traded from the Toyota camp to the Chevy camp. And so we're going to be seeing a little bit of an interesting race tonight, and I am joined by my partner, Ken Staff.
Thank you, Jim. And as we go into the second day of the doubleheader weekend here at Talladega Superspeedway in Lincoln, Alabama for the Aaron 67 Part 2. We're seeing the qualifying time being presented here on the number 6 car. You want to explain to us why this is a special car?
Well, last week we saw Adam Douglas in the number 6, and it was sponsored by Wells Fargo in a one-off there in that Toyota. Following that race, I saw the number 37 of Scott Vickers and the number 01 of Spencer Davis have a penalty that took the win away from Spencer Davis and awarded to Thor Gunderson. There was there was a fight between words of what Toyota had said about the Chevrolet camp and how they're not worried about them at all because they don't really have anybody leading them. Chevrolet went and they worked out a deal. They basically purchased the contract for Douglas Autosport for a significant amount of money, along with trading Titus Strobelever, who was driving number 3 Toyota under contract with Toyota, to the Supreme Motorsports camp in return for Scott Vickers. So Scott Vickers is going to be at Douglas Autosport today in the new Chevy sponsorship number 6 because Wells Fargo was a one-race deal and they are no longer with the team. Chevy is going to be personally supporting the 6 and the 7, where Adam Douglas is now, moving over from the 6 to the 7.
And man, what a shot and a deal that happened with that qualifying run. Scott Vickers with a 53.130, faster than we had on the previous day. Man, what a lap he put down. Let's go ahead and go through the field. I'll start off. We have in the front row Scott Vickers starting on pole, and he is going to be inside of Dakota Caudill. And Dakota is driving his number 2 Miller Lite Chevy.
And Chevy's really making a statement against Toyota this week by going 1 and 2 in qualifying. They are followed in the second row, starting 3rd and 4th, Benjamin Thomas and Austin Yoakum.
And the driver who was pretty much supposed to have won the race before, he's starting off in the 5th spot tonight for Western Auto Racing in the Busch 01 Toyota. That is Spencer Davis, starting inside of Brett Pritchard's Bang Energy Toyota.
And they were followed by Scott Porter, number 24, a promising prospect this season, and he's starting to the inside of the 92 of Caitlin Thibodeau.
In her Taco Bell Toyota, that's a very nice looking car that she's got. Titus Strobelever, who is now in the number 37 Toyota for Supreme Motorsports. He starts inside of Dylan Young's Hooters 55.
And then we have Evan Coward to the inside of the 79 of Justin Osborne. Again, this is a car to watch. If he can stay out of trouble, he's got a bad, fast machine underneath him.
And then right behind them, we have Arthur Xavier, who's always been up in the front of these races, but has not capitalized on a finish. Let's see what he can do today. He starts inside of Adam Douglas's number 7 Chevy Accessory Chevrolet.
And that number 7 is dead last in points. He's only accumulated 12 points over 2 races, and they're aching to get something going here.
He needs a miracle going.
Yep. To the back row, speaking of Douglas's, we have his brother starting to the outside of Todd Castile. That is Aaron Douglas in his Rockstar Energy Toyota Camry.
And the next few groups of drivers, we have Ben Horton in the Havoline Ford. He starts to the inside of another Ford. That is Kevin Campbell in the Whataburger Ford.
And then we have Joey Sanders and Brandon Krasta, Toyota and a Ford.
Arthur Xavier starts to the inside of the 07 Busch Toyota. That is going to be Trenton McPherson. Correction on that. That is Andrew Weisbecker in a 00 Valvoline.
They are in front of the number 12 and 27 of Aaron Gabron and Kenny Bombera. Bombera is now carrying the Warner colors this week. They're pretty excited to have him on board for the first time, and they think that they might actually have a sporty car underneath them.
Yeah, they're going to try something out a little bit different here. These teams are allowed to bring different cars out for the second race, and clearly they brought a lot out to this camp. We'll see how they can do. And the row right behind them, we have Jonathan Rains, the Dr. Pepper 77. He starts with the number 62 car, Mr. Onestum, MBT and Design Chevrolet.
And behind them we have Joshua Lockhart, the number 13 Sirius XM Ford Mustang, starting the inside of Civi Stark, who moves over from the 7 to the 3.
Very nice Ryan Newman paint scheme being sported in support of him. 6 strong. Definitely looking forward to a nice super speedway race today. We're going to try and keep that safe as well. In the row behind him, we have Edward Manning in the 39 Penske Chevrolet, and he is starting with Mr. Big Rig Johnson on the outside of that Red Bull Ford.
And behind them we have the number 35 car, and that is one of the Supreme entries in the Timmy Weathers, starting the inside of Francie Davis. New colors this week, or this race rather. It's a backup car. We saw the primary get smashed up in the first race, and that's why we have different colors.
And her teammate, starting in position directly behind her, that's Chris Davis in a Nintendo Ford. And he is starting to the inside of the yellow Zaxby 75 of John Art.
And they're followed by another Supreme entry of Quinn Izzo to the inside of Jonathan Hicks, one of our Canadian drivers.
And then we have Thor Gunderson, Mr. Pole, all the way towards the back of the field in this running. He's to the inside of Connor Meyer. Keep an eye on Myers 29. He always qualifies in the back of the field, but finishes up in the front.
That's what happened with Thor last week, too. He started pretty deep in the field, managed to work his way up. And in the next row, we have another Chevy driver who's looking to link up with Thor. This is Kyle Keith, number 42, Energizer Target Chevrolet. It's the inside of Jay Langlear in the Lowe's for Pros Ford Mustang.
And the commands to fire have been given. We heard the engines roar up. But we have also here rounding out the field in the number 95 Red Bull Racing Ford. That's David Walsh. He starts to the inside of Ryan DeLusso. DeLusso starting in dead last after making the engine change in qualifying. We will see how he performs in this race today. So a little bit different of compared to what we normally have going on. We will surely enjoy and love to see this race. Bunch of different faces because of the most recent change. This should be an interesting running.
And David Walsh and Big Rick Johnson, they are scheduled to undergo a tire test this coming Tuesday in the Watkins Glen, New York road course.
Now this is going to be the 4th tire test that we have had scheduled at Watkins Glen, so it should be interesting to see how this goes down and see where this tire test will lead us.
And a lot of drivers are looking forward to have their turn at Watkins Glen. They know that the new series is fast approaching, and the more tracks that the FARCA Racing Series gets certified for and given the green light to go race, we're about to get the new season underway. It's just in a few weeks, once we wrap up the super speedways, we get the last of the certification ready to go, and we'll be racing all across the country.
Will be really nice to get that opportunity going again. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting to see. Mainly this is just final approval coming from other indications of sponsorship and other things to get the series moving. So we've been at the super speedways, but we're very excited to get that going here soon.
All the drivers are excited to get going too. They know that it's just business, why we're a little bit limited to the super speedways, but nonetheless everyone's chomping at the bit and they're ready to go back racing.
I am definitely sure about that as well as we get the last part of the weekend underway. And that'll be Scott Vickers taking us to the green flag here at Talladega for the Aaron 67 Part 2 with Dakota Adele on the outside.
And with the green flag in the air, everyone's getting rolling. A little bit of slow start, a little bit towards the back. You just need to see who can get organized first, which lane can get the most drivers, and we'll see how we get things started here.
Benjamin Thomas getting right up to the cut right to the outside line there, but he kept it clean somehow. Spencer Davis trying to get an early lead on this. He wants redemption from last week.
Yeah, and Spencer Davis said before the race that he is really ready to go. That he's got a fire underneath him, and he wants to get to the front as quick as possible, and he wants to stay there.
Goal for the look seems to be for Talladega is to get out front and stay out front, and so far these drivers are definitely trying to do that. Good job though for Scott Vickers. He's holding both lines strong.
We see a little bit warmer weather today, and it's showing here. The line is a little broken up further back, but up front they definitely got things going here.
4 wide, 2 lanes back. We see on the outside there that's Benjamin Thomas, but it looks like that's Dakota. Yes, he's with there, Dakota. Not much help. They're going to get shuffled back. Oh, already trouble. That was Evan Coward. Put Ben in the wall. We stay green. We might see that 8 car come down to pits, but I don't see any damage on Evans 09. Tough break for Ben so early into this race.
Yeah, it looks like Dakota Cadill might have caught a little bit of damage there too. We know that car is very strong. Spencer Davis has claimed the lead from Scott Vickers up front, but going back to that number 2 car, we know he's got something strong.
We're going to watch to see if he pulls down. I don't see him pulling down for a pit, so he might stay out here. He's in that second
Here he comes
pack.
now.
That looks like that's just Ben. Dakota is still out on the racetrack, so that's good to see that he doesn't have any much damage from that, right?
There's a couple cars behind Brandon Crasta there in the middle of the pack. But up front, we got Austin Yoakum and we got Spencer Davis running the front 2 lines.
So for Ben's team, we're just down to 2 cars for him. That's going to be the 13 and the 9. That's Joshua Lockhart and Jay Langelier. We will see if they can do some redemption for him so early in this race to have that incident.
Yeah, that's a tough break for the Ford cameras. They're a little bit limited as it is, but speaking of the Fords, we got Ben Horton up in the 3rd lane up here. He's trying to get something
that
rolling up here.
Ford is very strong, and he's trying to get up there. That 4th lane actually has cars this time, so we'll see if they can make a run at the leaders. Yeah, the forefront of that pack is Brett Pritchard, and now it shuffles to Scott Vickers.
Titus Strobelever is up on the inside line looking to link up with his teammate at 36.
Spencer Davis taking the early reins of this. He has Scott Porter, a Chevy, behind him. And LeBron now going to the outside. A lot of cars shuffling to the outside line right now.
Yeah, we know that Spencer Davis wants to have the number 6 of Scott Vickers behind him. That was the tandem that really had such a strong move.
With 5 laps to go on that final restart, as soon as they took the lead, they stayed in the lead for the remainder of the race. Nobody could pass them.
Yeah, we saw that going here for a couple laps, but the 6 car got moved to the outside line, and the insides kind of got more energy. It looks like the Chevy and the Toyotas really don't line up well.
They don't. We've seen issues where they actually will hit bumpers and go into the wall, even with the Fords too. They don't lock up as well either. And it seems to be if you have a Toyota behind you, which is proving like a 37 as we looked before in the previous race, then they were able to go.
This is what we have now. We have Titus Strobelever on the bumper of Spencer Davis. And they have the inside line more organized for sure.
They're starting to get a little antsy as we see these cars shuffling through this field. We'll have to see just how they react.
See Scott Porter is leading the 2nd lane with Jonathan Raines to his toe. We have Rick Johnson in there as well.
And look at that 30. Look at this duo right up front, the 01 and the 37. Now it might be a different driver, but what an interesting sight to see that unfold as they come to this end of the lap.
Yeah, we know that Titus he had the pole last race and it didn't go his way. He got caught up in a wreck early and could never find his way back up to the front. He's kind of got shuffled away from the 01, but we saw those 2 cars together again very strong.
Now, despite Titus leaving Douglas Autosport after such a successful year last year, you can't really even be upset for him, nor can he be upset for himself, because Supreme Motorsports is such a great racing organization.
He's a driver that's he's manufacturally aligned. He had championships over in Europe in both fender racing and open wheel racing, driving for Ford. And they brought him over to the States, and it just didn't quite work out for them, and he ended up coming to FARCA with Dodge as Dodge backing him. They put him into Douglas Autosport, and when Dodge folded, Toyota picked him up, signed him to a contract, and they just couldn't let him go. They didn't want to see him go to Chevy, and so that's one of the main reasons why they were willing to work with Chevrolet on that deal, to make sure they could put him in that 37 car, and it might just work out for him.
It's been good for him, and another driver that's having a great hand and keeping my eye on him for the past few laps is that 05 Zaxby's car of John R. coming from all the way in the back of the pack. He's in that middle line about 5 cars deep. He's having a good run tonight. Look at that shot for the lead that came from Big Rig Johnson.
Yeah, Titus was pushing him pretty far out there. That 37 car, man, that thing is strong.
with both drivers that have been in that 37 car, you can see that it's not just a driver that makes the car. That car has got some power.
Yeah, it sure does. Supreme knows what they got going for them with the 35, 36, and 37 cars. They're all pretty strong, and they could potentially be highly sought after rides here in the future.
Jim. I smell trouble. We are 4 wide, about 6 lanes deep.
All it's going to take is one car to be in the wrong lane. That looks like it's about to happen here with Brandon Crasta.
Don't blink.
He's really
squeezing.
And Crasta's really
5 wide.
Oh, Titus is squeezing him.
That's with Crasta. Can they hold it? No, we have trouble. A big wreck. The big one is out. Wow.
I all saw that with the 63. It was really squeezing up there.
Caution flag is out, obviously. Let's double check up on this so we can see. Here, why don't we go straight to the
culprit.
The culprit, that's a way to put it. Where's the 30? The 63. There he is. So, what started this?
It's going to be the 63 getting shuffled down, put 5 wide. That's where the 5 wide had started. And he was really squeezing Edward Man and giving him no room.
He sure was. And then with the Titus being right there, that's not a lot of room to be going 3 wide at all. And that right there's the initial contact. I think the spotter was telling the 37 the 2 was there when in reality he wasn't.
And the 39 just had enough right there.
Not really much he could do.
That sucks for Thor Gunderson. And the 79 goes on a wild ride right here.
Watch
Justin
the
Osborne.
63. He's trying to avoid, and then right into Izo and Reigns, who hit. Oh yeah. I guess the 79 car was kind of lucky.
Oh, we said.
Well, he hit the 05.
Oh, he went really hard into the wall of the back end.
At least it was back end and not the front end.
We said before the race that 79 car could be really strong if he stays out of trouble. And it just didn't work out for him.
You know what this marks? Because watch that 00. Look at the 62. Team Motorsports can just not get themselves out of wrecks.
And it looks like the 05 car is going to be done for the day. Smoke billowing out of that machine.
Yeah, that's definitely a blown motor. You see the rest of the field. Ooh, 05 just rear-ending the 6 car.
That was the 51 getting into the 6 of Scott Vickers.
A lot of damage is going to be on these cars. Nothing much, at least in the lap down report just yet, but as soon as we can figure out who is there. Oh, here we go. Kyle Keith, John Art, Weisbecker, Horton, Ernesto, Thomas, who actually is re-entered the racetrack. Very interesting. Joey Sanders leading this thing currently with Kevin Campbell, Titus Strobelaver, Dakota Cadill, and Adam Douglas from the top 5.
It's a drastically different top 5 than what we had before.
Definitely, and Spencer Davis, who started 5th, is only in 6th, so that's not too bad. Biggest mover of the race has to be Joey Sanders, going from 19th to 1st.
Yeah, but I'm sure that Spencer Davis doesn't want to be back in 6th after leading the race the way he was.
No, I'm sure he really wants to be up there. Quinn, who was involved in that wreck, is still up there in the 7th spot.
Yeah, they're going to have to come through pit stops and see what becomes of that when they fall.
We'll have to. We'll see who does that. Looks like the leader, Joey Sanders, is ducking down. The 01 of Spencer Davis, he's ducking down. We're seeing the first of pit strategy, which that played a huge factor into last night's race.
Yeah, well, this could be just because the 01 wants to stay with the Supreme Motorsports car, and it just could be that they want to go with the 36 and not the 37 right now.
I can see that.
And Titus has a history of being involved in some nasty wrecks. It's one of the reasons why Ford had to save face and send him to the States in the first place. So it was just basically a lot of real estate, but ultimately nobody gave the room they should have given, and that's what led to the big wreck.
We will see Kevin Campbell going to lead the lap here tonight. This will be his first lap led of 2020 since he led at Kentucky in 2019. That happened after Brandon Cresta, Little Motor, now leading. Correction, that is Kansas Motor Speedway. And the 37 second, Mr. Stroller.
He certainly got a quick Tundra Camry underneath him. He certainly drives like the truck, doesn't he?
Well, they sure act like it's a truck. First portions of wave arounds of the single lappers. With their chance to stay in contention for this race.
It's like the FARCA officials let some of these badly damaged cars get back in the race.
Do what they will do. Some of these guys are able to get back out there and continue. Mr. Art, they're able to save that car. Looks like it was probably just tire split coming out of this. And he turns back into this car.
Yeah, it looks like Quinn Ezo's not gonna be able to go on. He's gonna come down pit road, get himself some repairs.
That is for sure. Needs it. Wonder why they're waiting until they are going green.
They were probably trying to evaluate the damage, the severity of the damage, and it just took this long. They decided that it's best to come down and get it fixed.
As the pace car ducks back down, we get to the restart box, the Geico restart zone. It'll be Kevin Campbell who will lead us back to the green flag. A short hesitation. That's going to be an odd.
They had to wait for the car to enter pits, or else they would have added some penalties.
It's going to be interesting because that almost guarantees the 79 of Justin Osborne to have the lead once they cycle back up to him. At this forefront of the field, it's a 93, 37, 2, and 7.
Two Chevys, a Ford, and a Toyota.
That will be interesting. We have Quinn Azzo. He's making his way down and back out of pit road. Group looks like we're going to see some tandem racing with these guys. And then this is going to be the pack that needs to gather themselves up and to then catch the field.
Which they'll be able to do. They can take care of it.
And these guys are definitely like they're going to have some fun up here. If you can be up front and hope that the cars behind you will stop the field, then you will be the leader of the race. So here's a good chance to scramble for the lead.
Well, that 7 car is interesting because he pretty much has 2 teammates here. He has the 2 Dakota Caudale and the 37 of Titus Strobel. But it just depends whether or not Toyota's going to allow him to work with Chevrolet.
I mean, it's a previous team from the same person, the team that you've won for and contended for the championship with. If I was Titus, I'd help out the team.
Yeah, and Titus wouldn't be in this position without him either.
They really wouldn't. It was the big break that got him into the sport. And here he is today racing for a high-end organization like Supreme Motorsports, who may very well only be in their second season of racing, but man, have they proved themselves worthy.
Yeah, they certainly landed a good one in Titus Strobel. He's really going to only propel this team more forward.
I highly agree with you, Jim. I highly agree with you. See that second pack over here. It looks like we have Chris Davis on pit road. We'll get updates to see what's going on with that. Could just be a pit strategy. Look at Kenny Wimbera in that 1:27. He's had a good run today.
And he's got Trent McPherson to his outside. A teammate, they could go and get linked up if they wanted to.
And the evening edition version of that paint scheme, debut of that paint scheme, out here racing the Bush 07.
His pack is more organized on the outside. See number 60 of Ryan DeRusso, who was able to avoid that wreck.
I see that little 29 car in the back. Keep your eye on him as we still get to this race. He always makes his way up towards the end if he doesn't get caught in trouble. So he's been just kind of hunting in this little pack, which they know they're going to catch the leader. So staying patient. And the 15 car, our shootout winner, he's right there with his teammate.
See Sibby Stark in the mix too, the number 3 Jordan Brand Chevrolet Camaro.
Beautiful run, he's had a good run tonight.
He sure has. He's just trying to stay out of trouble and make it to the end.
He needs to stay away from the two motorsports cars.
He sure does.
Evan Cowie, he's back into another driver earlier in this race.
The second half of this pack is really starting to get linked up now. This is only going to add to their energy and their speed.
Yeah, Stork Anderson and the car in there as well.
Douglas Auto Sports.
No, I was talking about the other.
Joseph Anesta behind Ford.
Yes, that's what I was talking about. And then Francie Davis, she's there as well. She's supporting the orange Gamefield car tonight. You see Benjamin Thomas, after being in contact with the wall, they got that fender pulled out. He's back out here on track. He's right behind his brother, Jay Langelier. Really good field going on right here. Ooh, a little squirrely there from Jay Langelier, but he kept it going all right.
Oh, he's like he's kind of fighting with Rick Johnson there for position, and that's just going to slow them down. They really need to get organized, get linked up, so they can catch the front field as quick as possible.
Oh, and we have trouble.
Now we've got a wreck.
There we go. They get it together.
We got to throw the caution though.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take that down. So caution flag will be out. That was they did a good job of slowing down and not creating something worse out of that.
It started with the 29 car.
Oh,
waiting to the 3 of Sivy Stark.
Let's see. Was that City?
That was Sivy in the number 3.
No, I meant like, did City start that?
They were just together, and they
Racing incident. Got together with the 29 and the 3 car, and David Walsh got collected in with that as well. And some other cars kind of slowed down and bottlenecked right behind him. Doesn't look like there was a lot of damage, so I was one of their drivers. I would be, and the 79 just kind of plowed into the 13 car. Nothing like too crazy. I don't think I would be worried about that. Kevin Campbell remains your leader.
He does, and it's going to be a little more difficult now that the field is together.
We'll see how they react to this. Rock on the yellow. While they're under yellow, we're going to go ahead and take a break. here. Keep an eye on everything as we go. Only one car getting waved around. It's Chris Davis in the 4 car. As they go down the backstretch.
He's having a little bit of trouble there.
I don't know if he wants to be waved around or not. There he goes. Let him decide if he just want to bump draft the pace car.
Yeah, maybe you just need to toy with the Porsche a little bit. Just trying to get the 911 turbo treatment. So now the field rolls out of turn number 4, and it's going to be Kevin Campbell, Adam Douglas, Dakota Caudill, Titus Strobelever, and Ryan DeLusso in the top 5.
And that 911 goes down to pit road. We are about to see the green flag drop. Field stays nice and together this time.
They're firing off and away. 1 Ford, 3 Chevys, and 1 Toyota make up the top 5.
Top 20 out of 65.
Just kind of peeks out here. He's going to hope for some friends. Dakota's not going to go with him.
He's got a few behind him. He's got Dakota, Scott, and a Team Motorsports car.
And DeLusso's going to go with him.
There we go.
No, he's going to abandon him. Take a 3 wide, and nobody wants to work with the 7 right now.
It'll be interesting 3 wide with no help into the lanes, but ooh, the 86 was going to go with him.
Decided against it.
He's got some.
Looks like this is the 42, Kyle Keith, who we saw at the tail end of the field just a little bit ago. Got the wave around, and now he finds himself at the front of the field. Douglas is going to abandon him now.
Somebody we haven't talked to tonight that's up here, that's Caitlin Marie and her Taco Bell Toyota.
Diane KFC going through the middle, following Kyle Keith through.
Car's looking good.
It sure is. DeLusso and Douglas almost collided there, going to the same real estate. Douglas is going to drop down the inside line. Just looks like he doesn't have the horsepower behind that Chevy to really lead anything right now.
That or maybe he's got some strategy. There's a lot of Chevy out here in this top part of the field. Maybe they're trying to get some organizing together before they try and go for this big shot.
I got 4 Chevrolets if they can just get lined up.
That dominant 4-2 of Kevin Campbell's Whataburger has been up there for quite a few of the last few laps. If you look a little more further in the pack too, that 3 car and the 1 car, the entirety trying to get all the way up.
They're just missing the 6 of Scott Vickers, and they have all 4 of the Douglas Autosports cars up here.
You got him up already.
93 lost some speed immediately when the 37 left him. That 37 might just be the powerhouse in this pack.
Supreme Motorsports, man, they have all the power in that organization.
So they're really trying to make a statement with Titus today.
I would be keeping an eye for the remainder of the entirety of this race. That car can just keep going in places where others normally can't.
Kevin Campbell peels off now, goes to pit road. This could be strategy for him, but he needs people to come with him or else it's going to spell trouble.
That is interesting. We're looking here at the second pack right here, 3 wide. A lot of good cars in this pack.
Austin Yoakum's got some damage in the front end.
And to the rear end of the 9 car as well. Jay Langelier, his spoiler and everything was all bent up.
Could be a result of previous incidents.
Definitely is. Aaron Douglas in this pack. A lot of the Western Auto Racing cars in this pack. Everybody but Trenton is in this one. Trenton's in the pack behind them.
They're going to need to get more organized if they want to get back up to the front and have a shot at winning this thing.
Could be a strategy as well, wanting to avoid trouble. As Arthur Xavier is currently leading the head pack right now.
With a tow of Chevys.
Yes, he's pulling those Chevys up. They are 4, 5, 6 cars deep behind him.
Kyle Keith moves to the middle now.
Keith Motorsports, very, very strong team coming into this year after winning the championship with Scott Porter.
It's all Chevys behind Arthur Xavier now.
All around him. He's got one on the outside. That's the powerful Titus Strobel in that 37 car.
Yeah, that driver sure is something out here today. Looks like he might have him cleared if he wants to come down and get it.
I think that's what he's going to try and do. Maybe not.
He did back up. He might like that high lane most.
Well, he can block the second lane from doing that so they can't progress. So maybe that's what he's trying to do. 60 moves the 86. Not quite to clear.
Man, we're going to have trouble
close.
right here.
They're close. The 42 and 62 are really close to those outside
This is not
cars.
good.
They are 5 wide. 5 wide in the corner. I'm in trouble. That's Titus getting turned around. And then we have a big red. Caution flag is out.
That is not good for that 37 car.
Not good indeed. Not good. Let's go back and check out. Not a lot of damage. I think he can still be in contention. As we see right there.
Big Rick Johnson just gave a shove to Onesta, and that's what got this started. Man, that 37 car has got some air.
Look at that freaking turn. And then Rick gets turned again. Oh, hard into the outside wall for that 37 car. Airborne.
Just barely misses the number 1 of Thor Gunderson.
That could have been a lot worse. That actually could have been a lot worse. Very lucky that that car didn't get as damaged as it could have been despite being airborne twice. Suspension damage might be something to worry about. That front end heavily pushed in on that 37 car. He had a really fast car tonight. It's very unfortunate to see him back here like this.
He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or right place, wrong time.
I unfortunately happened to see some damage to Dakota's car as well. As 42 of Kyle Keith is currently your leader. The 86 with some fender damage is right behind him. He's scheduled to come in for a pit stop. Adams coming down as well as Caitlin and Thor. Seeing 2 Toyotas and 2 Chevys making their way down for pit road entrance. We're going to watch the pit road entrance and see who else comes in for some tires and
This
fuel.
is going to leave us with an exclusive top 5 of Chevrolets.
That it will. We have Kyle Keith, Ernesto, the 3 car of Stevie,
Stark.
and then another Team Motorsports car and Scott Porter. 37 cars electing to skip the initial entrance for the first round of pit cycles. We'll see all the cars come in and see who else will take on this pit stop. There's Dakota, Gabron, and Langelier.
That's J. Lockhart. And they're followed by Jonathan Hicks. Kind of blocks Thor in. There's David Walsh.
See Walsh leaving pit road. There's that exclusive Chevrolet top 5. I can't believe that Titus so far isn't going to be coming down to pit. But he knows what he's doing.
I think the officials might want to think about moving him to the end of the line just in case he dips down before the race goes back green. Just so we don't get what we got earlier.
You know, that might be a
lane.
good idea. Here comes our second round of pit stops.
Some strategy here with DeLusso and Civi Stark. Probably wanted being in the back of the line so they can avoid further trouble.
Yeah. And officials are going to do that. It's been talk of putting in vehicles who I've been involved in a wreck of doing the old school NASCAR end of the longest line rule, so we'll see just how that goes.
And I'm just going to wait for Titus to pull down before joining the rest of the field. Just giving him a courtesy, time to get moving.
Yeah. Cars moving up. We'll see who else comes down for the second round of pit stops. Round 2, we have the 60 car of Ernesto and Seavey.
They could very well just be alone at this point.
We'll have to see. Yeah, I think there is feel kind of scrambling there when the 37 going by. Another car exiting pit road is Bigger Johnson, previously involved in the wreck.
With Andrew Weisbecker, they're going to be laps down.
See other cars moving around them. Cars damaged from previous wrecks. See the cars leaving pit road. And look who's in fourth. Benjamin Thomas.
He might be just about to see his way to the rear of the field.
You know, he has a very unfortunate nickname. And what is that nickname?
You're going to have to educate me on this one, Ken.
Well, typically it goes like this. And bringing up the rear, Benjamin Thomas. So, if he could prove us wrong today, that'd be great. We're about halfway into this.
And bringing up the front. Field enters turn 3, getting ready for the lights in the pace car might still be on. So we're going to have another lap.
Yeah, we got an extended caution this time. Officials need to clean up the track from parts from the 37 car. Reports of spillage from another car. I'm not sure what it was, but it might have been from the 95 car since he had to be on pit road for... Or my bad, the 94 car since he was on pit road for an extended amount of time.
Green.
One to green, one to green. So halfway into this race, Chevy's being extremely good so far. Trickling up towards the front, we have some Western Auto Racing cars. Spencer Davis and Kenny Bambura have moved their way up. Kenny in the debut paint scheme for that Werner Enterprises Toyota is having a good run so far.
Yeah, it could just be not too much of good luck in those black cars. We saw him have a Warner car in the Clash. That race didn't end out too well for him. And then the first 2 races with the Rockstar Royal Purple car didn't go his way neither. So it could just be the black cars having some black luck.
Light blue, a good color for Western Auto Racing because Spencer almost won last night.
And Trenton's having a race a little worse for wear without the blue.
Certainly is. He's actually quite towards the back of the pack. And Aaron's typically has good luck in white cars, not doing so well tonight. But here's the difference between last year. The Western Auto Racing sponsor has been removed from the cars.
Yeah, they're still with the team.
They are with the team, just not in the cars.
It's good sponsorship wise. It just means that they have proper funding behind them.
Cell phone company of a auto parts store out of Pennsylvania.
they're called Western Auto.
We're not going to question things. But that is how it is.
They're Western Eastern Auto.
And we are about halfway into this race, which means the wave rounds have been stopped. We're about ready to go green, so that may change up the factor for this. Pace car heads down in. Kyle Keith leads us to the green flag. Some fellow Chevys up there that may help us out, whether they are on the lead lap or not.
And they are led by Thor Gunderson. He's the leader of the lappers.
Leader of the lappers, right there ahead of Dakota Cadell.
They're getting more organized than the leaders.
Immediately, they're together. See, they want a caution immediately, and they'd all be back another lap.
They also might be trying to help the other Chevrolets that are up front there.
Exactly, because they could hold off the Toyota drivers since they immediately go 4 wide. You might get that caution they needed.
This field is not very organized as it would be at the moment.
No, they're definitely all over the place. Thor suddenly of these lapping contests go ahead just to keep you guys in mind as to who's actually leading across the stripe. That was the 77 car. I didn't see that lap. Benjamin Thomas in second. There's Ernesto in 1, 6, and 2, all on that inside line. That 13 car that you're seeing up there, the forefront of the field, Jalen Jalir, he is a lap down.
And it looks like the 7 car is a lap down too.
As well. That middle part of the pack is where you start to see the leaders. That time around, Benjamin Thomas. And Rivera, he's in the A spot back there with that Warner car. BL1, his teammate Spencer Davis riding the middle line. He's in 6th. They're trying to get those cars up there as much as they can. We saw this being a big factor in the end of one of the Daytona races, and it ended up being the drivers that held the outside line and got down in front of the lapped cars to win the race.
And Stevie Stark was the one who was able to manipulate the lap traffic to his advantage.
Speaking of Sibby, let's go and check in on Sibby and see where he is at. It looks like that number 3 car is in the 28th spot in a secondary pack. A lot of these cars heavily damaged from the race.
He's in 23rd after pitting for strategy earlier in the race.
Of course, we are still halfway into this, and the locking changes as the race goes on. You can see many of these cars in this pack even leading later on in the race. It's Kyle Keith retaining the lead on this lap and that 4th lane. This is the issue that these cars need to be wary about. They're leading up here with these lappers, and they could have a wreck. This will then get the lappers back on the lead lap, but then also end the day of the leaders. So this is kind of a dicey situation that we might see unfold as early as now, right in front of us.
Certainly a hectic situation here as we are 4 wide.
Going to a corner, you want to watch and see a car to see if they get any sort of crowding. Spencer Davis moving all the way up to the front of this, wasting no time. He knows a wreck is probably inbound. Kenny Bomberto knows his teammate is still at the back portion of this pack. Davis will be your leader when we come back to the stripe.
He's really trying to get his redemption for the last race. He knows that he's got the car that's capable of winning, and he wants to make his way to the rest of the league. So he's going to be up front to stay.
The only thing that still hurts a little bit more in this is that would have meant this was a back-to-back win.
And he's certainly putting the foot down to Thor, who was awarded the first win here. As Thor is a lap down in the 3rd lane here.
Now, what if he wins? Because that still means, because that team switched to Chevy, that would still mean we are 4 for 4 on Toyota victories of the 2020 season. So the question remains, who can stop Toyota?
It seems like the Chevys might have the best chance at this point.
They really are with this new team. Well, not new team, but this changeover in the teams. Spencer Davis leading across with Joey Sanders, Kyle Keith is the highest scoring Chevy as they cross the line. Phil Henderson on the outside working with them. As you see, that is Lockhart there, Lockhart lap down with Toyota, and Jonathan, he's trying to help them out. Watch out for Gabron.
Jonathan Hicks really did not have a hole there. He was trying to fit his car where it doesn't belong.
Trying to, but that leaves a hole for a Ford up in Lambert Gabron. He's got Joey Sanders right behind him, Evan Coward re-entering the racetrack, and that kind of scrambles them. They kind of panic seeing the car there, but they were able to keep it together. They almost wrecked.
Yeah, that really wouldn't have ended well for any of the drivers up front.
No. I gotta ask you, what's your favorite paint scheme out here?
Oh, that's a pretty tough one. And you certainly have to get a field to really pick one
Just
out.
of this little pack we got up here up front.
Well, that's still pretty tough all on its own. There's a lot of really good looking cars up front.
I like that. And if I had to pick one, I would say Scott Porter, definitely. He's got a really nice paint scheme in that McDonald's 24. They went full time with him over Coke this year, and I really like the paint scheme they brought to this organization. And the car on the wall, that is Joey Sanders in the 36.
That's going to bring out the caution.
That is indeed that caution. That is going to be a huge help to the cars up front of Spencer Davis. That should be Dakota Cadell and the 013 of Joshua Lockhart. They will get their laps back.
Yeah, it's a huge detriment to Joey Sanders, though, getting the wall. He's going to lose a lot of track position with that.
Very unfortunate for him. Let's go back and check out what exactly happened to Sanders. I'm not sure. Was it a bad push from the A-car?
No, it was Jonathan Rains knocked him into the wall.
Yeah. Looks like they just door slammed him. And yeah, bad call from the spotter. They told the 77 he was clear to get up with the teammate Ford. Didn't see the 36 was there. They got together, and unfortunately that may have ended the race for Joey Sanders. They got a lot of damage to fix on that car now.
They sure do.
It's on pit road right now. They're getting as much damage as they can repaired on that car. And that leads with us. Looks like our leader is going to be Spencer Davis. Jonathan Rains at 77 got hit. He has to pit now. Scott Porter, he will then be in second. Benjamin Thomas in third. Kyle Keith in fourth. And Ernesto in fifth. Chevys, Ford, and Toyota are all up there.
And it looks like Spencer Davis is going to be coming down to pit road this time.
A lot of cars are going to need to pit on this cycle. This has been about the 30-40 lap mark. So we will see everybody who comes down for the pit cycle.
Where they are lined up right now would give the 7 an opportunity to get waved around because he will be in front of the leaders.
We are past the halfway point, though.
But he'd be in front of the leaders behind the pace car.
That's true.
Which is a traditional wave around position.
Yeah, we'll do that for the single lappers, and the other ones will, they drop back.
That's only if they stay out, though.
True. Quite a few cars coming down. A lot of the leaders coming down as well. Lots of the Chevys came down on that one as well as more cycle in. So we might see manufacturers going down here for this one. Primarily Western Auto. Hey, contact on pit road. A very good and hard braking there for that 60 car. Almost straight collided with Connor Myers 29. That would have ended their days for sure. And we will be right back with that. Enjoy the caution. back here under the yellow flag situation. You see Benjamin Thomas leading on the outside row. These are going to be the leaders. John Arndt in his '05 Zaxby's. We also have what looks to be the 62 of Ernesto, Ben Horton, and Kenny Bambura is up there as well. That light blue car definitely having a good run tonight.
We're going to have more lappers join right now. The little snakes coming out of the end of pit road. There's going to be a lot of lap cars that can potentially get in the way of the racing here. Benjamin Thomas is going to be pointing our way to back to green. He's got to be excited about that to see a little bit of green racetrack for once.
And bad luck of the '07 car. He is starting to make his way back up through this field. He's in the 16th spot. But we will see how that will go once we re-enter the green flag second. Remember to keep an eye on the left-hand side of your screen to see who is actually on the lead lap with this group of lappers that are going to be joining us up here as that little mainstay of the field. Actually, the '05 car, I'm not sure why John is right behind the leader. He is not in the lead position, actually.
It could just be a mistake.
Might be a scoring error. He's not in the right spot and thinks he's in the right spot, but the FARCA officials will stand their ground. So that actually puts Bambura in the 4th spot and Langelier in the 5th spot. As we go back to green flag racing.
The field gets going, and we're going to hope to have a little bit of a stronger field up here this time.
We're definitely going to hope that we keep it like that. They start to gather themselves up as quickly as they possibly can. Looks like so far things have been good. Bambura had a little tough restart. Ben retaining the lead as much as he can, but he's on that outside lane, and that won't last long for him, unfortunately.
We're not. You see, it looks like Austin Yoakum is the front car on the inside line.
Lap car, but the lowest of the leader is going to be Joseph Ernesto. Team Motorsports might lead their first lap of the season. As they come down on green flag pits, that looks like that's him joining with his teammate, Justin Osborne.
It looked like it was Ernesto and Ben Horton.
Ben Horton, 28 of the Ford coming down. Ben also was on the lead lap.
So now brothers are leading with Jay Langelier and Benjamin Thomas. Those are teammates as well.
You know what we can't do today? Let's calm down. We are already 4 wide on this restart after we just wadded some cars up. So let's see what happens here.
Yeah, these drivers are pretty antsy. They really want to get going, it looks like.
You know, we've had the most in one race is 5 cautions so far this year. We've already had that today. But we're still just barely past the halfway point.
Could be the hotter weather.
As we already had a little bit of a slow, but some lap cars towards that inside line, but they kept it together. That was the cause of Benjamin Thomas.
Oh, he's coming down pit road.
A lot of green flag pit strategy right now, which is kind of odd late in this race.
Yeah, they really should have come down pit road during the caution flag.
I'm not sure if this is going to be for tires or field, but we'll see how it plays out. Ben, who just pitted, his teammate, Jay Langelier.
Spencer Davis is really...
Wow.
And he's leaning into that car, trying to get him out of the way.
A little tap to that bumper to try and get that number 9 Ford loose. But he has 2 Fords straight behind him, and he is going to stay out of their way. That might be a better call for him to do to avoid trouble.
And Spencer Davis wants to be leading this race. He doesn't want to be in any other position. That car is strong, and he knows where he can put it.
As soon as they cycle back around, we will be on lap 44. That's 22 laps to go.
And a little bit of good news for Spencer Davis. He does have his preferred drafting partner, Titus Strobelever, in this pack.
So they can link back up together and get those 2 cars going. He wants to see that red 37 car behind him. So they're trying to cycle around or maybe even return the favor to the race car.
Titus is linked up with his old teammate, Sivy Stark. It looks like he might be looking to leave him, and he does go to the middle lane. Spencer Davis is going to drop to the bottom.
And that second pack is also now caught, so this may change the whole dynamic of this field as well and shuffle these cars up some more.
More power, more speed.
We'll see these go towards this later part of the race. Angelier leading with Jonathan Rains. Sivy Stark now entering into that 3rd spot. His car in that new Chevrolet, sponsored by Jordan, has a ton of speed to it.
And it looks like this is going to bring our pole sitter, Scott Vickers, back up to the front. He's just going to have to try to work his way around and see what he really has underneath him.
To do what he can while he's a lap down. He's just going to be here for moral support on these drivers. We are approaching some lap traffic here as we see on the backstretch, so that will come into factor later on in this little run that we have. The 07 Trent McPherson has now entered the top 10.
And Scott Vickers is just a little bit outside of it. Our outside pole sitter Dakota Caudill is a lap down, and so we will not be seeing him at the front in contention. As the field works their way through turns 3 and 4, Jay Langelier is perfectly in position in the front of the field on the bottom lane.
Ton of Fords on that bottom lane right now.
There isn't really anyone in position to go against him, to try to contest, rather.
Not that I see as well, unless Kevin could, but he's going to move out. Aaron Douglas.
21 car is going to be in position to take it from him.
Wow, that car had a very unfortunate start by being involved in an early wreck. He's now at the forefront of the field and on the lead lap. He scored second on that last lap. He started 16th tonight.
That 9 has no opportunity to block him. As the 93.
Wow, he went to the outside.
I don't believe he's on the lead lap, though.
He had some help from a Toyota, but now that he's blocked the field, that's kind of interesting, especially as we get closer and closer to this lap traffic. And now, by going 4 wide, we can see if they can hold it together, or we can wad them up again.
Certainly in a precarious position. Let's see if the 93 is the leader or if it's still Jay Langelier.
Still have Jay Langelier leading this thing over Aaron Douglas. They're
Scott Porter's up there
by side with each other. Scott Porter, yes, in that third lane. Third lane seems to be the faster one as they get really close to those outer 2 lanes leaving this corner. Evan Coward, who had a slip up in that outer lane in the previous race, just goes door to door with the 24 car.
Aaron Douglas is looking for position.
He's trying to get through before he starts this wreck, and that might be happening now. There goes the next wreck. Wow. A major one that just ensued out of turn 3. I think that's going to be from Evan Coward. That would not be the first time we've seen him involved in a wreck.
Looks like, Aaron Douglas just crowded them.
Ran out of room as they were going so tightly 3 wide there as he just kept crowding and ended up
ran out of room,
causing the wreck. Put himself, he actually got the better end of the stick out of that. He goes away clean, but his teammate or alliance member in that 86 car is just absolutely destroyed, and then what ensues behind him is just carnage. Look at the whole field. This is definitely the big one.
See, Sivy Stark and Edward Manning got a huge hit off of that, completely off the ground.
The forward pressure of the 77 car hitting him just sent that car into the air. I don't think we really saw anybody get through that, but I want you to pay mind as we go on board with the 60 car. Check this out. Not many got through it, but he's one of them. The work of the hands, watch the hands, just being clean and concise. Awesome job for Ryan DeLusso getting through that wreck. Another one that may be interesting because of the ones falling behind him. See him on the rear of Dylan Young's cars. He sees them behind. Quick reaction on the brakes too from the 62 car from this. As he gets through, and then you just see the mess of cars behind them.
It looks like Sivy Stark's going to need a tow, which is going to take him away from the lead lap.
The field's still settling in. A lot of debris and everything to clean up from this one. We are on lap 50 of 65. ton of cautions tonight as we've had.
And there's still plenty of racing left.
We will see as they go. Currently at the front of the field is that 27 car of Kenny Pomora.
With Connor Meyer and Jay Langolier, Trenton McPherson, Spencer Davis, and Todd Castile in tow. Western Auto Racing's going to have 3 cars up front to go and contend for this thing.
It would be interesting. We might see that 07 car come down, though, for some repairs. I'm not too sure if Spencer Davis will or won't, but his car doesn't look too banged up from that wreck. It looks actually fairly clean. Field finally slows down. Let's see who all comes down and pits. Now would be the time if we were. Man, a lot of cars just a single lap down. We have 31 cars currently on the lead lap, and the last one is the 35 car of Timmy Weathers. An interesting top 5 we had here tonight. 3 Western Auto Racing cars in this top 5. Connor Meyer and Todd Castile are there as well. With less than 15 to go, who's your pick?
I'll have to go with the 01 of Spencer Davis. I think that he's got a lot on his plate, a huge boulder on his shoulder, not just a chip, you know? So he's going to be hard charging here, and he's got a couple teammates to work with to make sure that he can close out tonight.
Now, I do think that it might be a bit of a long shot, but I'm going to go with Scott Vickers because the rest of that team had such a strong start. And they've tried to capitalize on this first start with Chevy. I think he might be able to rally himself up to the front.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a wild card. We've seen most of his teammates get wiped out due to wrecks. He's going to have to be really clean and precise to find his way to the front and figure out a spot where he can stay there.
And not only around the leaders, he's got to get around the lap cars too.
That's true. It's going to be a tall tale.
So we will see what exactly he can do as we have these cars all cycling around. Some cars coming down pit road. Got Dakota Cadill and 4 others. That looks like Jonathan Hicks, Evan Coward, Thor Gunderson, and that might be Andrew Weisbecker. So Arthur Xavier. Splash and go for Jonathan Hicks. Looks to be that's what a lot of these cars are doing, just splash and go on field.
Hey, just trying to make sure they have enough to the end.
That's what every single car did right there. Splash and go, splash and go. Not a bad strategy. Stay away from the wrecks, and you got enough fuel for the end. Here is where it'll be interesting. So many cars, one lap down.
Looks like the only car is multiple laps down are Rick Johnson, the 94, 2 laps down, and Andrew Weisbecker, who's 3 laps down. Everybody else is 1 back.
Andrew Weisbecker, so unfortunate tonight, has been involved in so many wrecks.
Yeah, he sure has. There are 25 cars on the lap.
He lost 6 from that last wreck.
He sure did.
So certainly a caution-filled experience tonight, and this took about 20 minutes longer than the previous race so far. It will be interesting to see what will happen.
I'm sure a lot of the leaders really want to just get this over with, get to the end. Just a little bit of a ways away, about 13 laps from the end. We'll have 12 when we get the green. Could just very well be our final shootout to the end.
Pace car heads down onto pit road. To the Geico restart zone. And Kenny Bambura will take us to the green for hopefully the final time.
So he is rolling.
Connor Meyer up there. I said to keep an eye on him at the beginning of this race. He shoots to the outside. The field tries to rack themselves up. Already 3 wide, a couple lanes back. Trenton McPherson trying to capitalize in this race. He's working with his teammate in the middle lane.
Just trying to get organized, try to get some energy going, so we get himself into a position to be there at the end.
Lap cars are all on that inside. Spencer Davis is one of them who's not a lap down and on that inside line. He's trying to make something go. One of the Chevys trying to break the Toyotas up in the middle lane. That is Todd Castile and Chris Davis in his Ford. Bambura and Davis are currently leading this race, the Western Auto Racing Organization, as they start to fall back, though with Connor Meyer. That again gives the reins to Spencer Davis.
It looks like the rest of the field is starting to get going. They're going to be finding their way back up here in just a little bit.
This is what they need. You see that 37 car with the 01. It's a dangerous duo.
They're going to get hooked up, see where they can go.
We will see what exactly will go on. Bambura is just kind of hanging around on that outside. He was trying to see if he could do anything with the fourth lane. He drops all the way to the inside and right behind Thor Gunderson, who was a lap down.
Jay Langelier and Rick Johnson look to make a move, and he just can't quite get it done. Looks like Langelier was trying to ditch the 94.
Trying to work with him as much as he can, but ends up losing it. But now he's got Aaron Gabron, the super speedway and points leader specialist, who is currently a lap down tonight, trying to help out a fellow Ford. See, he moves out there to the middle lane to help out the 9 car. To the inside, though, it is all Toyota with 1 lap Ford at the beginning of the field. Connor Meyer pushing that 01 car. The 01 moves out. That will not be good for him. That might put Connor Meyer to the lead of this race, who is in the black portion of the field in points, as he will lead for the first time this season. As he moves out to that middle lane, though, that puts Thor at the front, though. That's going to put Jay Langelier as our leader now. No, it wasn't Jay. That was the 15.
The 15 is a lap down. Our 3 leaders are back to back to back.
Yeah, it looks like the leaders are trying to get around the lap cars. The Toyotas are doing as much as they can. This is what happened at Daytona. If they could secure themselves around the lap cars, then they for sure have the lead, and that's what they're trying to do right now. As they score around this time, it'll be Connor Meyer and Ryan DeLusso. Chris Davis a lap down back there. So that just shows the big gap. You see about 5 cars deep into those lapped cars is Ryan DeLusso, and Connor's all the way at the front. He's got a nice, comfortable cushion right now.
He's just got to try to maintain it.
Take it all the way to the end.
Connor was also involved in the most recent wreck with Aaron Douglas, and
he's kept it nice and clean though. It's good repairs, good time up, and he's up here. 4 wide. Don't wad him up again. 27, Kenny Bambura moves all the way up to 3rd. Krasta leading the race. Last time he did, he blew an engine.
It's probably not going to last long for him.
No, and he might even just wreck the field again. That's not a turnout I was expecting to see, as he might even be able to secure the lead spot by pulling down. He was really close to doing so. Western Auto Racing cars had backed off. They smelled trouble, trying to stay out of that big mess. But then the question bears is if that will even happen. Burr scored in 2nd. Andrew Weisbecker. He's pushing down with Jay Langelier. Big move up in that little center pack that was Dakota. Kind of spread out a little bit there. Krasta drops back. That will put Burr to the lead. Burr now all the way to the outside. He loses the spot again to Krasta. Krasta with a big run from a push from Jay. Sends him back to the front. Jay trying to catch up as quickly as he can. He's got help from Aaron Gabron as they score going across the line. Your current leader remains Brandon Krasta, Ryan DeLusso, Jay Langelier, and then the Western Auto Deal 27. That was a lot of change up in one lap.
DeLusso's going to have a shot right here to get the lead.
Going to have to do what he can to get out front and stay out front. He's on that inside line, which has been very strong in these closing laps. However, Toyota just put the block on that forward lane in the middle. DeLusso definitely leading at the forefront of this field now. Langelier in tow in the middle lane. Krasta as well as there with him. Davis silently moving through that bottom part of the field. He dropped to the back about 7 or 8 laps ago. He might be in a good position when we come to the stripe.
He very well could be. The time will tell.
He's now in the 2nd spot. Jonathan Hicks gets cycled around as well as DeLusso. And that puts Spencer Davis to the lead. And we have a lapped car. This is definitely going to play a big impact on this. That is Ben Horton now joining into this pack of lappers. We'll see what this kind of impact will put. That's going to slow down that bottom lane. That puts Jay Langelier to the lead from the lowest 9.
See, Sivy Stark is in front of Aaron Gabron, which is where he wants to be. He wants to make as many points up as possible to get back to the front of the points.
He needs to be up there. He needs to do as many points as possible and stay as far ahead as he possibly can. As he gets loose but saves it. Outstanding move by the young Sivy Stark. Spencer Davis scored to the leader that time around from Connor Meyer's 29 car. Right behind him. Ooh. They're getting dicey towards the closing laps of this race. They need to be sure not to cause a wreck, because that would be the end of this one. We're on lap 63, and we're approaching 2 to go when we come to the stripe.
It looks like Spencer Davis has still got this in the bag right now with Connor Meyer on his toe.
What a redemption story from Spencer Davis. Had a win stolen away from him on the previous race, and here he is trying to get everything back as soon as he possibly can.
This is really going to help him in points because the next race just absolutely killed him.
Was not anything of what he wanted to have happen, and here he is trying to make up for it tonight.
He's got his 2 teammates in tow too.
That's going to be Kenny Mamburra up in that 3rd lane. He's going to try maybe even take this away from us, but here's Joshua Lockhart in front of him in the Series XM Ford. Great redemption for the R4 Motorsports organization. They're trying to get something done here tonight too, but we're going to be coming to the white flag when we come back to the front stretch. We might have picked the right one, but we shall see. We come across travel. They're squirrely, and that shuffles out. The 0-1 of Spencer Davis. Connor Meyer now coming to the inside to the white flag. He will lead us to the white flag.
Spencer Davis just lost control there off of turn 4, and that's going to really help Connor Meyer.
It's that 29 car. He's being as aggressive as he possibly can, taking the white flag, pushing the lap cars out of the way. Connor Meyer trying to steal a show on the last lap. 4 wide. We might see them crash going to the stripe. A block from the 27 car to the 0-1. They're shuffling towards the back of the field. Connor now being on the outside. Trenton McPherson to his inside, trying to win the race at the end. They're getting close. They're trying not to wad it up. Trenton leads them out of turn 4.
Somebody's looking to the inside doing this. Dakota's got a problem. He's out of fuel.
You gotta watch that 29 car though. Look at Connor Meyer. It's gonna be a drag race coming to the stripe. Will it be the 07? Will it be the 29? It's gonna be Trenton McPherson for Western Auto Racing.
It's going to be a statement redemption win for them after having one loss with their teammate Spencer Davis. But Trenton coming to the win here is going to put Bush in victory lane, and it's going to be redemption for that team.
What a fantastic way to end the race. Once again, let's mention 4 for 4 for Toyota Racing organizations as they now take the checkered flag. What's insane is look at the damage on the 07 car. Being involved in a few wrecks, he ends up staying up front for this entire event and puts on the victory. What a great move for Connor Meyer. He moved the leader out of the way, moved the lap car out of the way, took the middle lane and excelled, but just couldn't hold it throughout the travel with help at the end. Connor Meyer did a fantastic job at the end of that race.
He just couldn't really hold it up well too much there at the end. He had a mistake. The car got loose and he lost the inside line and gave the hole to Trenton, and Trenton capitalized on it.
Yeah, here's when he pushed the 01 out of the way. Watch what he does to Chris Davis too as he comes across to this. Just moved him out of the way, sits fine. Leader's out of the way, a lap car's out of the way, blocked the line. He had a really good shot. The difference that made this was when the our winner tonight, Trenton. So we saw him. When did he take the lead from Connor? Did he move him out of the way too? It looks like it was right here. This is during the white flag, and it looks like there was a push from Dakota because they were all really close to that line, and that sent him into the 29, and that's when Connor had to check out.
Just lost grip. Made him lose line. He did an excellent job coming down the side track.
Definitely, and then as they went across to the this corner. Actually, out of exiting the corner and going to the tri-oval, this is when he actually had the lead for the race. By almost an entire car length, he had him cleared.
Just no help.
Just no help. Next car was Gabron, and then that train of different manufacturers was able to get around him, and that led the victory to Trenton.
And the rest of their top 5 is me, Connor Meyer, and then Brandon Krasta, Todd Castillo, and Quinn Izzo.
And then followed for the remainder of the top 10, Joseph Onesta in the 62 car, another Team Motorsports car, Ryan DeLusso. Kenny Mamburra, who led tonight, finished 8th, as well as Jay Langella, who also led. Spencer Davis trying to get their redemption finishes out in the last spot.
And the third Team Motorsports car, Justin Osborne, finishes 11, so it's finally a good showing for that team.
It's well deserved. They've had so much bad luck this 2020 season, and this has been awesome for them to come back and have a good race. So, a great one for Talladega. This finishes off the duo. If someone can beat Toyota, it'll be a miracle.
Well, as we said previously, one of the cars to watch for was Connor Myers, the biggest mover by far, starting 38th and finishing second.
So that is going to be the one to beat. There is your winner, Trenton McPherson, and the 07 Busch Toyota Camry for Western Auto Racing. Takes the first victory for Western Auto Racing of the season and the fourth for Toyota. So it's been another fantastic race. We will see you guys next week on daytime at Daytona International Speedway. Thank you guys for watching. I am Ken Stout.
And I am Jim Porter.
And we will see you guys next time.